Hey guys, welcome back to Mishmiss, and today I've got my best of 2019 for you. It took me so long to figure out how I wanted to present my information, how I wanted to format this video, and as I kept making list after list after list of all of my favorite products from this past year, I was overwhelmed with everything I was seeing, you know, going through my collection, going back into my like monthly favorite videos. There was we've all talked about this a gazillion times, but there were so many releases this past year and there were so many good ones. But what I decided to do, and I was really inspired by Alana Davison's best of video, where she reached out to a bunch of influencers and she asked them, you know, what was like the one standout product from you from 2019, and they were all able to do it. There were some exceptions, but most of them were able to do it, and she was able to do it. And I thought, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to talk about just one product because that would be boring, but I am going to be talking about just one product from each category. I figure let's make this like the Oscars of 2019, where there's a lot of nominees, but there's really only one winner. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Hopefully this video won't be too long. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I am going to start kind of like in order of how I would apply everything. And oh, one other thing before we kind of get started. I really didn't want to talk about anything that I kind of just got or started using in this past month, but I will probably mention some things that I really like or whatever, but I will give you like my one winner there. So I just want to mention that. I also want to mention that I'm not going to be naming products that were only released in 2019. These are the things that I found to be the absolute best. So I think most of them are probably going to be products that were released in this past year, but that was not a criteria that I used in determining my favorites. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk about is primer. And this is definitely something that is a little bit newer to my collection. And I just mentioned how I didn't want to talk about things that were new, but I can't not talk about this because it really has become my go-to first step for applying makeup. It is the Victoria Beckham primer. This is like the Cell Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer. So I think maybe I've had this for about a month now. It's become kind of like my moisturizer slash primer in one, and it just makes my skin look just really radiant. You know, I was a little bit disappointed when I first got this product because there weren't like the golden metallic bits in there that I was hoping that this was going to have, that the Victoria Beckham Estee Lauder collaboration had, but it gives your skin a certain level of radiance without that. And it's such a natural glow, and it doesn't make me look greasy in any way. It's just really, really gorgeous. And I was definitely a little bit skeptical about this because she partnered with Augustinus Bader. And she partnered with Augustinus Bader, who has like a very focused skincare line. And I tried his rich cream and it didn't really work out for me. So I was a little bit skeptical of this, and there are two sizes. I got the smaller one. So I was definitely on the fence about it. I was definitely skeptical about it. But now I'm kind of kicking myself. I should have just gotten the larger bottle, but it's really just wonderful. I have dry, sensitive, eczema prone skin, so it definitely works for sensitive skin. If you have, I think this will be fine on normal skin. I really cannot speak to anyone with like combo or oily skin. I just don't know how it's going to work on that skin type because this really does a very, very nice job moisturizing. So I can't really recommend this like wholeheartedly for like oily skin types. So I did want to mention that, but this just leaves my skin so, you know, soft and supple and smooth. And it has like just the most lovely texture. Let me pump some out here. It just has the most lovely texture. It's like, it's so weird because it's lightweight, but it acts like a heavier moisturizer. It kind of lingers on the skin for a little bit, and then all of a sudden your skin just kind of drinks it up, but you're left with just this little bit of radiance. It's really a lovely, lovely primer, and this has really kind of taken over top spot for me. Okay, foundation. You know, it's funny. It's like I picked my favorite, but I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, but there's so many. This was like a grand slam year in terms of foundations. There were a lot of foundation releases and a lot of really good ones. And This was very difficult to pick, but you guys probably will not be surprised, but the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation. This just, oh my gosh, this came into my life and it was almost like I had never known a foundation before this. And I've mentioned this when I've talked about this in my favorites or whatever, but it's almost like if I were to create a foundation, this would be it. So I have shades 3 and 4, and the foundation, let me actually squeeze some out. It comes in this like dropper dispenser. There's a little button at the bottom here. So if you just hold it upside down and then you dispense, a little drop will come out. And here is the foundation. So it's definitely on the lighter side, but it's not like too liquidy. It's not too runny in any way. And it definitely has like a lighter coverage, which is just perfect for me. And the glow that it leaves your skin, do you see that? It just makes your skin look really pearly, but in a really, really subtle way. It's not like as if you added something like a liquid highlighter or something to your foundation where it's like you kind of look semi-disco ball-y. This is a little bit more subtle than that, but there's like a little something. And again, because I have dry skin, this is just like heaven for my complexion. I just look so healthy and glowy and like lit from within. It's like all the things that I absolutely love in a foundation. And it does definitely have a lighter coverage. If you're not into that, this is definitely not the foundation for you. But it does such a good job like perfecting your complexion. I just absolutely love this. You guys have heard me go on and on about this foundation, so I know it's no surprise to you guys. But yeah, this was like the standout foundation from this past year. And there were a lot of contenders. If I may just mention the Sicily, the Phyto 10. This was beautiful. The Chantecaille Future Skin, which is not a new foundation at all, but I discovered that this year. That is a gorgeous foundation as well. The Sicily Cushion. I love this foundation, but again, the Surratt beat it out. Anyway, there were a lot of excellent foundations this past year that I was really loving, but if I had to pick one, it is the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation. All right, let's talk concealers. This was another hard one, but I went with the Sicily Stilo Lumiere, and I have been trying to, pan this one. I'm just trying to finish it because I feel like I've had it for a while. And because of that, I have been using this pretty much nonstop for like 2 or 3 months at this point. And I just love it. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to finish this and I'm probably just going to run out and buy another one. But it has, again, it has light coverage. So again, if you're looking for really super high coverage, this probably is not the product for you. But it's kind of like one of those highlighting concealer pens. And I really love that underneath my eyes. I don't need that much coverage underneath my eyes. I need a little bit. I definitely need a little bit of help, but I really like highlighting properties to my concealer, and it doesn't look like you actually have like highlighter underneath your eyes. It just is like the perfect tone. So I have shade number 2, and it's one of those clicky twist ups, and it has like the sponge at the top, and it just has like just the slightest peachy tinge to it, so that it's not, it's definitely not as far as like something like a corrector in terms of peachiness, but just enough to kind of correct like the sallowness that I have around my eyes and just brighten that eye area. And there's just enough coverage. I mean, there's definitely some coverage there, but I would not call this high coverage in any way. Like, it's just very natural, and it goes really well with lighter coverage foundations. It goes really well if you don't have any other kind of like base makeup on, if you're doing kind of like a no makeup kind of day, yet you have like a little bit going on underneath your eyes. This is perfect for that because it just blends perfectly so that it doesn't look like you have some like heavy kind of concealer and that you're, and you can kind of see where it starts and ends, like that situation. You don't get that with this. It's just gorgeous. And the texture, as you guys saw, is just, it's so creamy and it's so smooth, and yet it never ever kind of like sinks into my fine lines. It doesn't crease. It doesn't do anything funky around my eyes. So this is my concealer pick for 2019. Okay. Setting powders. I'm totally cheating in this category because I'm going to give you 2, but one is for my face and one is for like under the eyes. So the powder that I have just been going hard with in terms of underneath my eyes is the By Terry tinted hyaluronic hydro powder. I think that's the full name. The hyaluronic tinted hydro powder. And I use the shade 1 Rosy Light. And I love using my finger and just kind of tapping it underneath my eyes there just to set my concealer. It adds to the brightness. There's something about this rosy tint that really kind of just like brightens up my entire face. It just lights up my eyes and it looks great. So this powder has definitely been a tricky one for me. The first time I used it, I did not like it. I definitely used way too much of it. And someone actually at EBATES actually suggested I use my finger and kind of like press it in. And that works like a charm. So that is definitely my application tip for the EBATES hyaluronic powders. So you use your finger, kind of pick up a little bit and then kind of like press it into the area that you want to powder and then, you know, just kind of like smudge it in a little bit and it'll just kind of like sink right in. It's so fine. It just sort of like melts right in and it's gorgeous. So that is my favorite under eye setting powder. And my favorite face setting powder, again, definitely no surprise, this has probably shown up in every single one of my favorites this past year, is the Kogan Do Natural Lighting Powder. I just love this powder. I go for it every time and I keep thinking to myself, I'm gonna get really sick of this powder one day. Nope, I haven't. It has just the lightest amount of coverage, like barely any. I find that it doesn't, you know, alter like the shade of my foundation or anything like that, which is what I like. It is definitely a powder that's on the matter side, but there is just like the slightest hint of like radiance, just the slightest hint. It definitely cannot like double as highlighter, nothing like that. It really just has the finest like satin kind of sheen to it. And I love that. You know, when it comes to setting powders, and I've said this before a gazillion times, I really like powders that just set down my makeup. I don't want it to add any kind of finish, any kind of luminosity, anything like that. But because I have dry skin, this just seemed to be like the perfect, like just one tick away from being like full on matte. So I love this powder and I'm actually surprised it's not empty, but it's definitely getting low there. But that's the Kogan Do Natural Lighting Powder. I love it. Absolutely love this powder. All right, and since we're talking about powders, let me talk about my favorite finishing powder. This is definitely not a new product to 2019, and I think this probably appeared in my last year's favorites, but it's the Guerlain Meteorites. I just love it. I think it does such a lovely job, like creating a really beautiful like sheen to your skin without it being, you know, too pearly looking or kind of just over the top. It has a few micro glitters, but I use my Sonia G Face One brush, which you guys know is my favorite for buffing out finishing powder. And by the time I'm done buffing out, there really isn't that much like micro glitter left, but let me just open up one of these. So this is the medium shade. And so you can see that there's like a bit of a pearly sheen there, and I just love buffing that in. It just looks so good. It just makes your skin look so like perfected, and I don't want to say mannequin because that just seems so stiff, or like a marble statue, but like almost like it just does that to your skin. Oh my God, it's just amazing. It's so beautiful. And with the Face One brush, it's like perfection. So that is the Guerlain Meteorites. It does have that violet scent, which I love. It just kind of adds to the whole experience. So that's my finishing powder pick for 2019. I'm totally cheating and mentioning a second one because this is in pressed form, but this is the EBATES Brightening CC powder, and I have this in 3 Apricot Glow. This I love because of its convenience. Like I can never travel or go anywhere with the Meteorites. It's just not something you want to go anywhere with, but this is so convenient. It's in a compact, it's pressed, and this has a rose scent to it versus the violet. But this gives your skin like a little bit more of an amped up pearly finish versus the Meteorites. The Meteorites is a little bit more subtle than this. This really gives your skin like quite the pearly finish. It's almost like a subtle highlight. If it wasn't this shade, which is a little bit, for me, a little bit too skin-like for highlight, I could probably use it as a highlight. But this is another one. I love using the Sonia G Face One brush. I'll just get some onto my brush, buff it in, and it just looks gorgeous. In fact, let me do that right now because I don't think I did finishing powder today. So I just pick up a little bit, and you can either start by stamping or you can just go ahead and start buffing in. But I kind of like stamping it just to make sure I kind of have an even distribution of the powder, and then I start buffing. It's just gorgeous. So this is my pressed finishing powder, best of 2019. Wow, that was all out of order, but you know what I mean. The By Terry Brightening CC powder. Next up we have Face Palette, and this is definitely not new for 2019, but it was re-released. Thank goodness. This is the Hourglass Unlocked palette. So I have the older version that came in this kind of like, I don't know, like a burnt gold shiny packaging. Now they have it in the ghost packaging, which has like the chrome on the top and then like the frosted plastic as the base. Anyway, the products on the inside are the same, and these are just stunning. I love, 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 love this palette for many reasons. One, all of the products in here are unique to this palette. So a lot of the Hourglass ambient lighting edit palettes, they have a lot of products that exist in their regular collection, which is great if you don't have any of the products and you want to try them out or whatever. I think it's wonderful for that. At this point though, I feel like a lot of us have a lot of the powders that exist in these like edit palettes, so it kind of becomes a little bit redundant. So I really appreciate that all of these are unique in here. I also like that this is a little bit deeper, I think, or a little bit deeper skin tone friendly versus the other edit palettes. This is by far not like deep skin tone friendly, definitely not, but I think someone up to like a medium skin tone can use this. Like this bronzer, pretty deep. These blushes I think will look really, really lovely on like a medium skin tone. But I like that this is kind of like a light medium to medium skin tone friendly palette, and I just love it. I also love that none of these powders are like their marbleized powders. I really like their marbleized powders, but sometimes you can end up with a pan that's marbleized that has a little bit more of like one color versus the other. It doesn't happen often. It's usually like very even, but I feel like I have a blush in my collection that has a lot of, not the actual pigment, but more of like the ambient powder in there. And it ends up being like very, very light on my cheeks, which I don't think the blush normally is. So anyway, I like how all of these are just like solid colors. They're not like marbleized. All of the products in here are beautiful. I can use them. They're like just absolutely gorgeous. These blushes have like the most beautiful like sheen to them. This one, obviously you can probably tell in the pan, has a bit more of a brighter sheen to it, but they work well alone, together. Like everything just jives really, really well in this palette, and I just love it. And I'm so, so glad that they brought it back this year, because this is by far my favorite like Hourglass edit palette, is this Unlocked. All right, you guys, I just realized that I'm not telling you what's on my face and what's not on my face. I'm gonna link down below as to what is on my face. Unfortunately, most of them are not in this favorites because I'm bulk filming for Mishmas, so I apologize, but I'll have everything down below in my description box. Anyway, onto contour, and this is definitely a new product to my collection, but it has blown everything out of the water. It's the Scott Barnes Sculpting palette, and I'm just obsessed with it. I'm really, really just so smitten with this palette. This one is just like my basic everyday contour, if that's such a thing. I feel like that's an oxymoron, but basic everyday contour. I'll mix it with this one if I feel like I want a stronger one. This is great, like how Scott Barnes suggests to use it like under your jawline. It's like magical. It's just great. It kind of gives you that like burnt look, which I don't know, just works under here. He's a magician. Anyway, I just have been loving this. I haven't personally used this one or this one yet, but I was watching Mel Thompson talk about this palette, and she went in with this color and it looked great. I was like, oh my God, I have to try this. I have not done so yet because I just keep reaching for that color, but this is just wonderful. The powders are fine. They blend out beautifully, which is exactly what you want for a contour. The last thing you want is for like a streak of contour, but it's just, oh my gosh, I just absolutely love it. And I love this palette. I love like the sturdiness of it. I love this magnetic flap. Like everything is so good. The pan sizes are right, you know, for the brush that you're going to use to contour. Absolutely great. So this is my contour pick for 2019. Let's talk about bronzers. And this was a little bit tough. And you'll probably know like the contenders in this category. But I knocked out the La Mer the bronzer that they came out with this summer, mainly because that's limited edition, but it is quite lovely. I also knocked out the two Chantecaille Real Bronzers, the ones that were baked. One is Goa and one is Serena. Love them, but those are also limited edition and I think a little bit difficult to get. Anyway, I love all of those bronzers, but the one that really stood out and the one that is not limited edition, I don't believe it's limited edition. Anyway, I think you can still get it, is the Tom Ford Glow Bronzer. So this is like the third, I believe the third like version of bronzer that Tom Ford has come out with. The first one was like a pressed powder. It was fine. I really liked it. I liked Gold Dust. That was my favorite one. Then they came out with the Ultimate Bronzer, and it was like a baked version of the bronzer. And that bronzer, you know, was nice. It was nice, but it was very, very difficult to pick up. And I think people were having problems like getting the pigmentation that they wanted. So with this one, this is, it's definitely more of like a regular pressed formula. So you can pick up product very, very easily, but there's something very creamy about it, and it just melts onto your skin. I absolutely love it. I've been using the color Terra. The Gold Dust, I don't know if it's me or I don't know if it's this formula, but it just looks a little bit too warm on my skin now. Maybe it's me, like I've been definitely kind of leaning towards more like neutral, you know, with like a little bit of warmth to it, but a little bit more neutral bronzers is what I'm trying to say. And I've been loving the Terra. It is such a good bronzer. And of course, this is like the first time I decided to get the smaller size compact. I have the Ultimate Bronzer and the original bronzer in the big one. And I was like, let me just get the small one. I have so many of its bronzers. Of course, this ends up being my favorite. And I'm like, I should have just gotten the bigger one. But this has just been, oh, it's so soft. It's so creamy. And it just blends like a dream, and it's like the perfect tone. There's a little bit of, it's like a little bit of sheen to it, but it's not like it's in the powder. It's more like the formula of it. It's like the creaminess in the formula is what gives it the sheen, the like slight sheen. It's just really beautiful, really, really beautiful. So anyway, this is my bronzer pick for 2019. All right, I also have a cream and a liquid bronzer pick. Definitely cheating a little bit with these, you know, just one in each category, but anyway, bear with me. So cream bronzer, the RMS Bronzer. I discovered this past summer when I went to New York. Is that when? Yeah, I think I purchased this either when I was there or I brought it to New York and started using it there. Anyway, this is such an interesting bronzer. So it looks like a straight up bronzer in the pot, but then I felt like when I put it onto my skin, there's like that really strong kind of like purple reddish undertone. Do you guys see that? But it ends up being such a beautiful bronzer because it gives you that kind of burnt kind of like undertone to it. And then there's like a beautiful sheen. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I use this like all summer, so I had to mention it. And RMS happens to be like an organic beauty brand. So anyway, if you guys are interested in clean beauty, this is a wonderful cream bronzer. It's just such an interesting color, but I feel like it really is true to the tone that my skin would be like if I did get a lot of color. So that is the Bronzer from RMS. And then in terms of liquid bronzer, this By Terry Brightening CC Serum in Sunny Flash. I love putting this down as a base to just kind of like warm up my skin. I love adding this to foundation. If I want to warm up the foundation, it has this gorgeous, gorgeous sheen to it. So if you want kind of like really glowy skin, this is amazing. And this makes for a really great like light kind of like all over bronzer. Maybe after you've put on primer and foundation, you just want to add a little bit of warmth to your skin in like certain areas that you would normally bronze. This is great for that also. So I had to mention this as well. Okay, you guys, my blush list I think was the longest list that I had. I think it was actually when I was writing out my blushes where I was like, I can't do this. This video is going to be 5 hours long and everyone's just going to be like completely like glazed over. So the blush I ended up going with because I used this probably the most, and it was one of those I was like, okay, if I just had to go and grab one blush, which would it be? And that's the Chanel Golden Sun. Oh, I love it. It's neutral. There's a little bit of pink in there. It just looks so, so beautiful on the skin. Sorry, I'm like layering so much stuff on my hand now. Hold on, let me put that over here. It just adds like the right amount of like flush to my cheeks. It blends into bronzer so seamlessly because of like it's a neutral tone. It's just gorgeous, and it's a Chanel blush, so there's a little bit of a sheen to it. It goes on beautifully, it blends in beautifully. I just love the formula, the color, everything. So the Chanel Golden Sun. But I would be remiss if I did not talk about my runner-up, and I think this was definitely the hardest decision out of all of these, and that's the Laura Mercier blushes. I love these blushes. I really, really do. And this is Fresco. This is almost like a Golden Sun dupe. It's just a little bit peachier. It's a little bit less neutral. But I really, really love these Laura Mercier blushes. This one is gorgeous as well. This one is peach. This one is ginger. This one is very, very light. Great for those like no makeup days. And then grapefruit, which is like the exact opposite of ginger, but really bright. Anyway, I won't linger on these too long because I did not pick this for blush of the year, but I had to mention these because you guys know I've talked about these in so many of my favorites, and I really do love them. But when I was going back to earlier in the year, this Golden Sun from Chanel really, really dominated. So anyway, I went with the Golden Sun. And of course, I did the same thing with blushes that I did with bronzer. I also have a liquid blush and I have a cream blush. So my cream blush pick is the Tom Ford Glow Stick in 03 Mageve. And this is actually dual-ended. So there is a highlighter and a blush at one end. But this blush, lovely. It's just such a beautiful like neutral pink color. I love it. And the formula of these, it goes on really pigmented, but it blends out really, really easily and beautifully. The highlighters are definitely a little bit more like emollient than the blushes. The blushes definitely aren't too slippery, slidey. They just sit really beautifully on the cheek. So that is my cream blush pick for 2019. And my liquid blush pick for the year is the M Cosmetics True Color Serum Blush. I think that's what the full name. True Color Serum Brush. I'm just gonna go with that. She came out with 4 colors. So these 4, these 4. Wow, that looks terrible. And I really, really love this light one, which is Rose Milk, and this middle pink one, which is Pink Nectar. They're really, really stunning, and it has like really great ingredients. I know there's like squalane and hyaluronic acid. Anyway, great, great, great for dry skin if you have it. And I think some people had problems with this dropper. They found it messy. I haven't really had that problem yet. But it drops just the smallest amount because you don't need a lot. These are very, very pigmented. So oh, they just feel so beautiful on the skin, and they just leave this gorgeous, gorgeous like flush. I just love it. And I think they go on beautifully with like just your fingers. Usually with liquid blushes, I have, I don't know, like a little bit of a harder time like applying them. I tried the NARS ones that come with the pump. I don't know, I could never get those to like blend quite right. They always kind of ended up looking patchy or like kind of streaky. But these, I mean, you can see, these just blend out beautifully. So definitely my pick for liquid blushes of 2019. All right, let's move on to highlighter. So powder highlighter pick for the year. This was tough. This was also a tough one. But I had to go with the Private Society Glow Getter palette. I fell in love with these this past year, and I was thinking about the Scott Barnes palette, but I was like, you know what? This is kind of like the OG because they're very similar. I think the Scott Barnes has a little bit more coverage, I guess you could say. These are a little bit more sheer than the Scott Barnes, but these are, they're just stunning. Like the amount of sheen that they give off is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I really like how these are a little bit sheer, so like your skin kind of comes through, so you just get this kind of like gauzy effect of these highlighters. They're really easy to blend out, and the colors, I feel like I've been able to use all of these colors. Like these I've been able to use as just straight up highlight. Same with these are a little bit, you know, warmer. These two are a little bit darker, but if I want to, you know, go and add a little bit of glow to my bronzed areas, I always go in with this color. Just great. And I definitely have talked about this a gazillion times. So that is the Private Society Glow Getter palette. Just been loving it. All right, and one last highlighter, In the cream category, this is the Guerlain Terracotta Highlighting Stick in Nude. I love this. You guys know I was going hard with this summer. This just gave off the most beautiful, beautiful glow. Let me swatch this right here. I hope this is still available, but whew, look at that sheen. It is like, wow. You know, when it comes to Guerlain or any of these kind of like luxury department store brands, I never really expect them to like step up like this when it comes to highlight, you know? But this was just out of control and I loved it. And it definitely has that terracotta, the Guerlain terracotta scent, which is, it's lovely if you like those kind of beachy suntan lotion, salty water kind of scents. It's great. But yeah, this was awesome. I hope they come out with more products like this because this was really, really beautiful. I loved the stick foundation that they came out with as well. Yeah, this was a great line. So anyway, this is the cream highlighter pick for 2019, the Guerlain Terracotta Highlighting Stick. All right, well, the next two things I can just blow right through. Eyebrows, you guys know I'm gonna talk about the Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel. I was introduced to the new color Granite this year and it is amazing. It's just basically a cooler toned version of Espresso, which is one that I had been using, which also works really well. But I've been liking Granite during these cooler months, you know, when I've been doing like less warm, bronzy looks, and it's great. I still love Espresso too, but this product is just phenomenal. Love it. And then mascara, the Tom Ford Lash Raise Mascara. This is so good. This is really, really amazing. And I have also come to really love the Tom Ford Badass Mascara, but this one has been in my life a little bit longer. And it just like, I have it actually on my lashes today and it separates, it lengthens, it helps like hold the curl because I definitely have to curl my lashes. It's been awesome. So I've talked about this a gazillion times as well, so I won't linger. Definitely mascara pick for 2019. Eyeshadows. I'm laughing because this is like ridiculous. You should have seen my original list. I was just basically like naming off every single eyeshadow quad or palette that I had purchased and I was like, this is ridiculous. But there were so many good releases. So I did break it down a little bit. I do have a large palette pick. I do have a smaller palette pick. I do have individual shadows. Anyway, let's start with the large. I wanted to talk about the Natasha Denona 28 pan palettes because I discovered those this year and I use them a lot. I think starting in like July or August, I was using them a lot. But I thought, you know what? Those have been around, I think for 5 years now. You guys have heard me talk about them. I do love them. But I thought, let me talk about something that was actually released this year because there were plenty of releases. And that would be the Natasha Denona Biba palette. This is a gorgeous palette. It's really, really beautiful. It works for just about any occasion. Day, evening, dinner, work, meeting, PTA meeting, like it's just phenomenal. I also love the quality of these shadows. I also love like the different finishes that she has. So there's like 3 shimmers in here, which are great shimmers. Like these lighter colors, so great for like the inner portion of your eyelid, your inner corner, like a one color all over if you want to do like a foily look. And then the rest of these are basically like a matte. There are a few shades in here that I think like read a little bit satiny, like this tar color or even this spot. Yeah, this spot color. You can probably see it. It's like just because of like the formula, but the rest of these are basically like matte colors. And so it's just a really easy palette to use. And you can get so many different eye looks with this one palette, which I think at first glance looks, I don't know, kind of boring maybe, but you have like a warmer row, you have more of a mid-tone, like more neutral, it's a little bit warm, but more of a neutral tone row. And then you have like cool tones down here. And they all work really well together. Like these 3 work well together. These 3 work really well together. Like I just like also how it's set up. I like the packaging of this. It's just great. It's permanent. It's not limited edition. I didn't have to jump through hoops to get it. I'm sure you guys can guess what I'm referring to, but this is my large eyeshadow palette pick for 2019. All right, in terms of small eyeshadow palettes, I really just wanted to say just a general across the board, all of the Tom Ford quads that have come out this past year. But I thought that was useless information. So anyway, I narrowed it down, as difficult as it was, and I narrowed it down to 2, and it really just kind of depends on what mood I'm in or what look I'm going for. But I've got Double Indemnity and Body Heat here. I Love these quads. So this one is Double Indemnity. So if I'm in more of like a smoky mood or just something a little bit, you know, cooler in tone, this is such a great palette. I absolutely love it. And then Body Heat is a little bit warmer. So again, kind of just depending on what else is going on my face or what I'm in the mood for, kind of just depends like which one I reach for. But these two are just, they're gorgeous. I mean, all of the Tom Ford quads I feel like that have come out, except for the Extreme Badass one, but all of them that have come out this past year are stunning. Like all three of the ones that came out with the Soleil Neige collection, the ones in the white packaging, those are amazing. They're absolutely beautiful. I loved the limited edition white suede palette, the version that came out with Neiman Marcus. They released it again with Nordstrom and it was a little bit different. That one was lovely too. It was just different. I liked the one from Neiman Marcus better, but that was gorgeous. I mean, just all of them. They were all like just beautiful, beautiful quads this year. But these two have been my standout favorites. My single eyeshadow pick for the year, I'm really dragging this out, is the Chantecaille like Lost Species luminescent eye shades. These are just stunning. I mean, the whole thing is stunning. The packaging, there's like a different species on each one. I can't hold them all up. And then the embossing on each pan is absolutely gorgeous. And then the actual eyeshadows, I mean, they're so, so beautiful. I mean, luminescent is such a great term for it. This is probably my most used. This one is Rhino. You can see it looks pretty destroyed. But let me go ahead and swatch this one. I mean, stop it. Chantecaille, just stop it. I mean, it's so, so good. I mean, these are all so, so beautiful. Here's Elephant, another one that I've gone really hard with. This one, it's a little bit more golden than the Rhino, but they're all gorgeous. The Pangolin, I think is how you pronounce it. Anyway, this is like a dusty lilac color. So, so good, so good. Look at that. Yeah, these were absolutely stunning. This entire collection, it was like so breathtaking. It was like, it really, really just was like shocking in its beauty. So these are my pick for single eyeshadows for 2019. Now let's talk about my single cream shadow pick. This was a lot harder than I thought. I have a lot of single cream eyeshadows and I really enjoy them. And in fact, I have one on right now that I thought was gonna be a pick. Anyway, I put it on and I was like, nope, I still gotta go with the Victoria Beckham Lid Luster in Mink. This is so gorgeous. So I have the Tom Ford Fleur Neige, the duo. It's like the cream and then has the topper. I have that on my eyes, which I love, but we're only talking about one here, and it is this Victoria Beckham one. This is, it's just stunning. These are just absolutely stunning. And you just need the littlest bit. Look at that payoff. It's like, what? It's so gorgeous. It looks like slick on your lids. The metallic reflectiveness, this color is such a beautiful brown. It has, it's like cool on top. And then when you blend it out, I don't know if you guys can see that. When you blend it out, it gets warmer. I mean, it's just beautiful, beautiful. She did such a good job with this one, especially. I have a few of the other ones, which are just as gorgeous, but there's something about this shade that, you know, I mean, it's just more wearable, I guess, than the others. Absolutely stunning. So this is my cream eyeshadow pick for the year. Okay, my lipstick for the year, guys. This was kind of crazy, but you know, I sat down and I started like kind of putting all of them on, and then I was like confusing myself, and then I was like, well, I mean, do I go by color? Do I go by formula? Do I go by what I just wore the most? Which, I mean, who would know? Anyway, I decided to go with one that I think kind of fit all of those things. I love the formula. I love the color. I definitely wore it a lot. It has definitely appeared in my favorites. And that's the Bond No. 9 Gramercy Park lipstick. That is my pick for 2019. I love this color. I love this formula. Now, when it comes to nude lipsticks, I have quite a few in my collection that I really enjoy. The JK Magic from Charlotte Tilbury, That was definitely a contender here. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lipsticks, those were contenders in here. Mel Thompson's Christian Audette, her nude lipstick, I was like, this is a great nude. I like threw that into the mix as well. But there's something about the formula of these Bond No. 9 lipsticks that I really, really love because they're surprising. When I first go to put these on, they almost like tug at my lips, and when I first put them on, I immediately thought, oh God, like these are going to be drying or they're going to be too thick, but they kind of like tugged a little bit, and all you need is one swipe. So I, you know, went across my lip and I thought, okay. And then you give it, I don't know, maybe 5-10 seconds, and then it feels like you don't have any lipstick on at all. It's like the most interesting formula ever. They're completely weightless, despite how thick it feels going on and how pigmented they are. They all of a sudden kind of like set down to like nothing, to like absolutely nothing. I love the colors that they came out with. They came out with a bunch of reds and then they came out with some nudes, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I have a lot of these lipsticks. And I love this packaging. I mean, we just talked about fancy lipstick cases and I'm just a sucker for them. I love it. I love the color names because it reminds me of New York City. Just everything about this whole lipstick line, I love. I absolutely love. And this Gramercy Park color was definitely the one I reached for the most. So that is my lipstick pick for 2019. All right, let's talk about lip liner. Oh my God, we didn't talk about eyeliner, did we? Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll go back and talk about eyeliner, but let's talk about lip liner. These Sisley Perfect lip liners, again, not new at all. I don't even know how long these have been around, but I discovered these, I think this past year. I love these. I absolutely love these. These lip liners go on like no other lip liner. I'm generally not that picky about lip liner. Like, I love my Charlotte Tilbury. The Iconic Nude I use a lot, it's fine. But what happens with most lip liners is I put them on and they usually go on either really slick or there's a little bit of tug to them, whatever. I feel like after 5-10 seconds or whatever, after it sets down, they're all a little bit dry. And I always thought that that was the case. If you wanted to keep lipsticks from bleeding, if you wanted to really, you know, line your lips, you needed something that was really kind of sit on your lips a little bit. Well, enter the Sisley lip liners, and they go on really smoothly. So when I first tried them, I thought, these are probably ones that aren't gonna, you know, stay, that they don't have a lot of longevity. No, these are amazing. These go on really, really softly, and they don't ever do that set down where it looks a little bit drier or whatever. They just remain really, really comfortable, like the way they do when you first put them on, yet they have longevity. They don't bleed, like they stay put. They're just incredible, absolutely incredible. And I have very, very dry lips. You guys know I suffer from eczema, and I get eczema around my lips. It's awful. And so when I wear really drying lip liners, it'll actually bring out my eczema. That hasn't happened in a while, but it used to happen all the time. And it was so annoying, and I wouldn't be able to use lip liner. Anyway, these just so far from that situation. Like there's just no sort of like dry feeling, drying down. They don't get drier as the day goes on. They just, oh, these are just wonderful. I don't know what they've done to this formula, but it is perfection. So the Sisley lip liners, the best. 2019, 2018, I mean, and probably forever on. I love these. Okay, eyeliner. Now this was really tough. I just did a Top 5 Tuesdays with Mona talking about our favorite eyeliners. And so all 5 of those were really like high on my mind. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can pick, but if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with the Tom Ford Emotion Proof eyeliners. One, because they stay put, they're easy to use, they glide on nicely, they set down, like they're great eyeliners. But I also like the color range. I feel like I maybe would have picked the Victoria Beckham eyeliner. I love the one in bronze. Don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous. But I feel like if she had just a broader range of colors, I probably would have picked her line. But the Tom Ford has like, I don't know, 12, 16 colors, just like a lot of colors to choose from. And I have like 4 or 5 of them. And I generally don't like eyeliners that twist up because I don't know, I just like sharpening my liners. I feel like these dry out a little bit more quickly, but I have had one, not this one, and not this one. Well, I've had Gigolo. That's the one I've had the longest for a while now. and no signs of drying out. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. You get the twist up convenience, but they don't dry out that much. And when I did my top 5 eyeliner video, so many people commented like, what about the Marc Jacobs gel eyeliner? And I'm like, I've tried those, but they dry out very quickly. I feel like I can use it for like about a month, and then I go in the second month and it just cracks in half. I don't know if maybe the formula has changed or what the deal is, but the gel eyeliners that I have tried from Marc Jacobs, they all dry out and crack and they're rendered useless. So while I like them while they're working, I'm really annoyed that they dry out that quickly. So anyway, the Tom Ford Emotion Proof eyeliners, my pick for 2019. Okay, lip gloss time. You guys know I have a lip gloss problem. And yeah, I have like 8 on my list here. But the one lip gloss that I feel like is my tried and true lip gloss, which is also why I think I almost forgot about it, because it's like, it's just always in my purse. It's become like that piece of makeup that I just don't even think about anymore. Definitely not new to 2019. And in fact, I think I discovered it last year, talked about it last year, wore it a lot last year, but I still wear it a lot. This is one, I have a couple of them actually at this point, and one lives in my purse, and that is the Chanel 804 gloss. I love this gloss. When I first discovered it and I started wearing it on videos, so many of you and people out on the street asked me if I had my lips done or where I got my lips done. And I was like, it's this lip gloss. It makes your lips look just so plump and juicy and pillowy. It's amazing. I mean, you see this bright pink color in here, but there's really no pigment, at least not that much. It really is kind of like a clear gloss. It is fantastic. And I think many of you went out and purchased this and came back in my comments and was like, you were not kidding. Like, this is such a great like faux lip filler gloss. And it doesn't have any of the tingles. It doesn't irritate your lips, nothing like that. It's just like the perfect illusion for your lips. I don't have it on. I have the Gramercy Park lipstick on, but this is, you guys know, if you guys have been with me for any amount of time, you guys know that this is it. You just use like a little bit of a darker like lip pencil just to kind of like contour a little bit, and then you fill in with this. I'm telling you, people are going to ask you if you got lip filler, and it's the 804 Chanel Rouge Coco Gloss. Oh my God, did we get through everything? Okay, I'm gonna mention one last thing, and this is facial spray, because I don't usually talk about facial mist that much. I don't use them regularly. I will use them, I'm not opposed to them. I don't really use them to set down my makeup. I will use them sometimes when I'm done with my makeup. Sometimes I'll use it before makeup. Sometimes I'll use it on days that I don't have any makeup at all, and I just feel like my skin feels a little bit tight and needs a little bit of moisturizing. But I brought this mist along to Japan with me because I wanted to be able to kind of like hydrate my face on the plane or whatever. And it's wonderful. I was like, wow, this is such a great face mist. A lot of times face mist will either feel like nothing, or they'll end up feeling maybe a little bit sticky on my skin. And I do not like at all. And this is the Lila Bee Aglow face mist. And you can see how much I've used. I love it. I love this face mist. It's so refreshing. The only thing I will say is this sprayer is very strong. So the first time I used it, I was like, whoa. But let me just show you. See, it's like a lot of product. You almost just need like one spray, maybe 2. Let me do 2. But it's like a lot. And for someone with dry skin, this is amazing. Again, I can't speak to oily skin, but I think if you have normal to dry skin, this is great. It has a very light, like fresh scent. I don't even know if it's fragrance. I feel like it just kind of smells like the ingredients, whatever the ingredients are, but it's wonderful. And Lila Bee is, I don't think they're all organic, but I think maybe they are. Maybe Lila Bee is all organic. I'm not sure, but they are definitely part of like the clean beauty movement. And this spray is wonderful. It really is wonderful. And I've tried quite a few this year, and there's some that were close. Like I've been playing around with this Glow Recipe Watermelon Mist, and it's okay. I know people love this. I love the sprayer on this. I feel like every sprayer should be this sprayer. But this is one of those that leaves my skin like a little sticky. It's a little sticky and I'm not the biggest fan of it. Other than that, this one is wonderful, but I just love this Lila Bee. This one is just impeccable. It's amazing. All right, so that is my best of beauty, best of makeup 2019. I'm going to be doing a couple of skincare videos coming up. Like I'm definitely going to be doing like a recent skincare finds that I've really been enjoying. I wanted to share those with you. And then I don't know if I'm going to do like a best of skincare 2019, but I will probably end up doing like a revised morning routine and a revised evening routine. But anyway, definitely keep an eye out for like a recent skincare finds that I've been loving. That's definitely coming your way. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like that I only picked one thing from each category. I hope that just, I don't know, narrowed it down or made it clear. It was just, I don't know, it felt like the right thing to do in a year where there was so much makeup. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'll see you in my next video.